Welcome back, adventurers. In this episode, it's time to de-winterize this Georgetown motorhome. We have a portable power station here and a Seaflow water pump. I had to jimmy rig the pump up together. I'm going to show you how I do it. And I don't have a water connection right here. So to pump water through, I'm going to be using two 7-gallon jugs. I'm going to have to repeat the process to refill the fresh water tank. But first, I'm going to put it through the city water connection just to get the lines pressurized, and I want to clear out anything that's in that low point drain there. So let's get it started. Let's explain some of the setup here. This is the Seaflow pump. It's a 12-volt pump. We have that connected to a hose, water hose, going into this little 7-gallon portable container here that contains the fresh water. The other end of the hose, we have it coming into the city water connection here. So it's going to make believe that we're hooked up to a city connection once I turn on the pump. Now my end wire is kind of finicky, so I had to use a banded, what is this called? A water bandit. You notice that some campgrounds you're going to need that, and I use that to hook it up to the city water inlet. This thing, it works really good. I'm going to put a link for it in the description pin and in the comments, all the products that we use. Before I hook everything up, I have to go inside to make sure that all of the valves are off. Sometimes we make the mistake and we'll start the pump and something will be on inside the house and you get a flood. So I'm going to make sure all the valves are in the off position before I start this pump, because once the pump starts, it's going to pump water all the way through the city line connections, but the water should come out on the low point drains because I don't have them capped. I want to make sure that the water flows through the bottom part of the system. Inside the RV is currently 71 degrees, so that's more than enough heat to keep everything from freezing. Still didn't put all this stuff away, so this is off, this is off. Let's go on to the next. Shower, they're both off. Bathroom, everything's off. So now we're safe to turn on the water. Let's cross our fingers. I don't have to do any MacGyvering to fix any frozen pipes. I'm hoping that we have no frozen pipes. Okay, to hook up the DC power, I did connect some of these inlets. I forget what these are called, but I'll put a link in the description. Someone sent me these ages ago, and I forgot to make a video about them. But I'll put the link in the description. All I have to do is look at the Amazon. I can find out who sent it to me, and I'll put a link in the description. But this is the end piece. Again, it's the same type of thing, and it's a 12-volt plug. As soon as I plug this in, it activates everything. How this works, I know you probably can't see my face, but this is more so that you can see this. The way this works is we take these end pieces off, and we put the positive with the positive, negative with the negative, and it inserts into each other. And you hear a little snap. Sometimes I like to make sure this one is in because this one is a little finicky. So I make sure that these things go in, and it's a tight connection. And we got the DC outlet. Then we just plug that in here. So after we have this plugged in, I'm going to show you what happens next. I'm going to try to get this all on camera. Hopefully this door cooperates and the wind cooperates. But as soon as I cut this on, everything happens really, really fast. So you start your DC power. And it's going to start pumping the water through the system. Coming through the system. It should be coming through on the floor now, so I'm going to check. So there's the water there coming through the bottom of the system. So now I'm going to turn it off and put on some of the caps. Steady flow of the water is coming out that blue valve right there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these caps back on because I see that the water was coming through. So these caps, I mean, eventually I'm just going to cut these off at the crimp and add ball valves because that's easier to maneuver with these things here. I mean, this is not too bad. And these are very easy to install. I believe I did buy some of these to crimp on just in case something happens with one of these things, but it's much easier when you just have the ball valve to do all your connections. I mean, these things are very easy to put on. If you need to extend it, let's say for some reason this breaks off, you can come into this bay right here and easily replace it. It's no problem and very easy to replace. Okay, that's on. Let's see what else I need to do here. And of course, I don't know where I put the piece at, but these are on there now. I can put water to fill the lines, pressurize the lines. Now that we have the cap screwed in, we can come back over and turn back on the pump. Again, it's powered through the power station. You'll hear it starting to pump out the water. And I like to take a look to see, just to see if the water is coming through. And you can hear it. You can hear the water actually going through it. The line is pressurized. But now we just have to see if there are any leaks. It should be no leaks. I mean, from the pump that I have that moves around a lot, you may get a little leak out of that because we're moving around a lot, but it shouldn't be like any big exposed leaks in your plumbing, which is not. So it's really good. So now let's go in, let's check the water heater to make sure that's not leaking. But this can stay on. There's enough water in here, I feel. Let me just turn this a bit so the water is more so pushing in. Because once this fills up, the pump will stop. Once it's pressurized. All right, some people may ask, how you know when your system is pressurized? Move back, Mac. Come on, move back. All you have to do is turn on your water here, and that shows you that your system is pressurized. And Mac wants some of that water. This water is coming from this tank here and from the water line. So now I'm going to go inside and check out how it is inside. I have a bowl in here because we're just going to collect the water. Yes, I got to clean the sink. But this shows that the water is on, it's pressurized. I don't know about the hot water. Hot water you have to open up and you see the air coming through. That comes through until the water has enough air to push the hot water through the line. So we're going to check that. And I'm going to fill up the freshwater tank. Not the freshwater tank, the hot water tank. So this pump, while activated, is only using about 23 watts of power. When it's not activated, it just cuts off. But my line on the pump itself, the portable pump, I have to tighten up. This is where the water heater is. We check that to see if there's any leaks coming through. There's no leaks. Take this off to see even better. There's no water coming out of the water heater, so that's good. I want to check for the hot water. And we do have pressure coming out from the hot water, so that's good. Now, all we have to do is fill up the fresh water tank. All right, we have all the water in. So now we're going to take this off of the city water fill, and we're going to put it on the fresh tank fill. Again, we finally got into warm weather, so this is the reason why we're doing all of these fixings here. Oh, let me move this over, this pump, because water is going to come squirting out of here. Just a little bit. It's not going to be a lot. But this is what you have to go through when the season's open. I mean, you can just take your RV to the campground and do it. It's much easier because you have a steady flow of water. When you're here at home, like in a boondocking, mooch docking sort of situation, you don't have much water. So let me get this filled up, and then I'll bring you to you. Right, the freshwater fill is connected. I empty out, took it off the city water fill. Now the only thing to do is to turn on the pump, and we got to get the water flowing into the fresh water tank. And again, this water is kind of cold, and it doesn't like the cold water. So I see it going up now, and it's going to start filling up, and then I can look at the level once we get inside. So let me fill up this and we'll get right back to you. So this is the look and sound you want to look for when you're pumping out the water. You can actually hear it coming through, and you can see the vibrations because the pump is working really well. If you don't hear anything, it's because the pump feels that it's enough pressure. So you have to loosen up the valve to let the water flow, and then tighten it back up, and then it's just like a trick for this pump system. We put 28 gallons of water inside of the RV. There's a 40-gallon holding tank, but 28 gallons already in. Right now we inside. We're gonna cut on the water pump. You can hear it pressurizing. Once it pressurizes, then you should just cut off. I'm listening, and once it stops, there we go, it stopped. From what I learned about the water pump, if there's any air in your system, once you cut the water pump on, it's going to pressurize. Then it should cut off. If there's like a leak or air, something getting through your system, it's going to cut back on. It's going to cycle back on every 30 seconds, every minute, whatever it takes to repressurize the system. I felt the pump like it's right under me. I don't even know how it's under me. It must be somewhere where I'm standing, because I felt the vibration, and then it went off once everything pressurized. Because right now we don't have a city water connection. We're working off the pump, so let's see how that works out. Again, I'm working off the pump. So let's see here. That's right off the pump, and that's right off the pump. I heard the pump go off. Turning the water on, I heard the pump come on, and as soon as I turned the water off, the pump went off. So it only works when the water line is open. That's when the pump is going to turn on. So it's pretty good. That's it. Everything is pressurized. There are no leaks, thank God. The winterization that I did, the winterizing process that I did last in the beginning of winter, well, let's say it was the end of fall, it worked. I didn't use antifreeze. I just blew out the lines, and I opened up the low point drains, drained out all the water, and I just left it like that as I drove to let it leak out anything that was trapped in there. And it seems like there's no leaks in the lines. Thank God for that. I'm opening up the bedroom slide. Here's the breaker system, and here's where I cut on the water heater. So now I turned the water heater on here, and the water pump is on here. We do have a Arctic pack just to see everything here. I don't know what that light was on for. Oh, the light came back on. But this is the Arctic pack. When the weather gets cold, we turn that on. All right, I had to troubleshoot why the reset button was on. So what I did was I tried to go outside. I turned on the propane. I turned on the stove to make sure it was fire coming through. I went and double checked outside where the hot water heater is and made sure that was on. I pressed the reset button. I turned it off and on, and that was the trick, to turn it off and on, and that's what made it work. Hopefully it is working. So let's see. So this is it on the on position. The red light was on, but it just went off. Let me stick with it for about 10 seconds to see if it comes back on. If it doesn't come back on, that means we troubleshooted it correctly. I just had to toggle with the switches and the reset button for it actually to activate. While we're mooch docking, we are on 30 amp connection. So, well, it's not even a 30 amp, it's smaller than 30 amp. It's 120 volt, 15 amp. And I had to bump down. So I don't know. This is a 50 amp RV. So I don't know if it's pulling too much power, because the breaker did trip in the house. So I had to reset the breaker and then come back in and reset everything inside the motorhome. And now it looks like the light is off. So I'll check the hot water and see. But this RV is dewinterized, so we could go ahead about our day. That's a good thing. Now I have to figure out how to fill up the propane, because we have half a tank left. But we'll do that when we get on the road. We have plenty of time for that. You can actually hear the fire going on in there. Well, the boiling of the water to keep it hot, and you can feel it's warm here, the exhaust. So thank God for that. So my friends, it's as easy as that. This RV is de-winterized. It's ready for the camping season. I'm gonna keep this the heater on, the water heater, and I'm gonna keep the inside of the RV heated because I don't want to go around and the breaker to trip, or when we have 2 more cold days, I don't want any issues with the water heater. So we're gonna keep everything on. We're gonna keep the temperature warm inside the RV, and that's it. It's the winterize. So see you guys next time. Oh, I'm looking at all the lights. Everything is on. Look at that. Woo. You can open this up and just relax inside the RV. I was looking up at the microwave because I'm like, why don't I see lights on the microwave? But everything is on. The fridge would be beeping if there was no power. You couldn't operate the chair if there was no power. And the lights are on. So everything is working. Thank God for that. If you like these type of videos, hit that subscribe button. These DIY type of videos, do it yourself. You can de-winterize your RV, winterize your RV, and just keep going, save money. That's the key, to spend less money while you RVing across America. Now I just have to learn how to fix the engine part of the car. Everything inside, I think I know how to fix, but it's the DC electronics, the AC part of it, or the plumbing. So thank God for that. See you guys next time, and thanks for watching. Ricky out.